Everyone in the village of Enigba knew Chineme. Not because she was the smartest or the richest, but because people said she was ugly. Her face was long, her ears stuck out, and her nose was broader than most. Her deep brown skin was darker than the other children's, and no matter how much her mother tried to braid her hair, it always looked wild. The children whispered about her when she passed. Some laughed openly. "Why does she look like that?" they sneered. "She looks like an old woman." Others, especially the girls, would pull at their own noses and ears, mimicking her features before bursting into laughter. At school, it was worse. No one wanted to sit next to her. If she raised her hand to answer a question, the other students giggled before she could even speak. Even her voice is strange. Jumo, the loudest of the boys, would snicker. "She should sit outside so we don't have to look at her," Safara, the prettiest girl in school, would say, covering her mouth as she laughed. They called her cruel names: Monkey Face, Stone Nose, Shadow Girl. Others pretended she didn't exist. But Chineme never fought back. She sat alone, did her work, and kept quiet. She was always the first to arrive at school and the last to leave. Her mother, a simple woman who sold vegetables at the market, always told her, "Your heart is more important than your face. Let your kindness be your beauty." So Chineme did just that. One day, the village chief called for an important meeting in the town square. An elder from the king's palace had arrived, searching for a girl to serve in the royal court. She would live in the palace, learn the ways of the kingdom, and perhaps, one day, become the wife of a great leader. The girls of the village rushed to the square, their faces bright with hope. They had heard the stories, how girls chosen by the palace lived in luxury. They wore golden bracelets, ate from silver plates, and never had to fetch water or firewood again. Chineme went too, though she knew she stood no chance. She stood at the back, watching as the elder observed the girls. He walked slowly, looking each one in the eye. The girls stood tall, fixing their hair, adjusting their dresses, smiling their sweetest smiles. Then, the elder's gaze settled on Chineme. Murmurs spread through the crowd. "Why is he looking at her?" someone whispered. "She shouldn't even be here," Safara muttered. The elder nodded and pointed. "You." Chineme froze. "Yes, you," the elder said, stepping closer. "What is your name?" "Si Chineme," she stammered. The elder turned to the chief. "This is the girl we choose." Gasps filled the air. "Ah!" Jumo shouted. "But she's the ugliest girl in the village." "There must be a mistake," Safara said, shaking her head. "She is not fit to serve in the palace." The elder's eyes narrowed. "And what makes a person fit?" The village fell silent. "This girl," he continued, "is respectful. She is kind. And she does not waste time gossiping or laughing at others. Beauty fades. A good heart remains forever." That same week, Chineme left the village and was taken to the palace. It was nothing like she had ever seen. The walls were covered in golden carvings, the floors shone like water, and the air smelled of fresh flowers. At first, life in the palace was not easy. The other girls in training whispered about her, just as they had in the village. "She does not belong here," they said. "How can someone like her serve in the royal court?" But Chineme did not let their words break her. She focused on her lessons. She learned to speak with wisdom, to carry herself with grace, to dance in the way of the noblewomen. She studied the history of the kingdom, learned the ways of the people, and listened carefully to the wise women who taught her. And slowly, things began to change. The queen herself noticed Chineme's dedication. "She may not have the fairest face," the queen said to her ladies, "but she has the purest heart. And that is more valuable than gold." Over the years, Chineme rose in rank. She became an advisor to the queen, a trusted voice in the court. When the king's son came of age, he watched the girls of the palace carefully, searching for a bride. There were many beautiful girls, ones with shining skin, long braids, and delicate features. But none had the strength of Chunemi. None had her wisdom, her patience, or her kindness. And so, when the time came, he made his choice. "I choose Chunemi," the prince declared. The court was shocked. Many whispered. Some even protested. But the prince was firm. "A beautiful face is like a flower," he said. "It blooms for a short time and then withers. But a beautiful heart lasts forever." Years later, Chunemi returned to Enigba, not as the girl they had mocked, but as their future queen. Dressed in fine robes, adorned with golden jewelry, she rode into the village on a horse beside the prince. The same children who had laughed at her now stood in awe. The same girls who had mocked her now bowed their heads. Even Safara and Jumo, now grown, lowered their eyes in shame. But Chunemi did not remind them of their cruelty. She did not seek revenge or speak of their past insults. She only smiled and greeted them with kindness. And from that day on, the people of Enigba learned a lesson they would never forget. True beauty is not found in the face but in the heart. And the girl they once called ugly became the most admired woman in the land.